the veteran wide receiver market, Sarah. It's been fluid. It's a fluid start so far, and the Ravens obviously hope that they're going to still doubt. You would expect them to dabble at some point, but it has changed. There's a bunch of names have come off the list here in the first 24 hours.
Including your guy. I had to tweet this to you last night. The Giants re-signed the guy that you had targeted before free agency opened. They re-signed wide receiver Darius Slayton to a 3-year deal worth $36 million. Bobby, I tagged you, offered my condolences. I said, sorry for your loss. What was your reaction?
Exactly what I tweeted you back. I think I'll live with that price tag, right? I mean, come on.
You weren't thinking $12 million per year.
Certainly not. I don't think the Ravens are either. He stays a Giant. 3-year, 36. Yeah, that's 12 average annual value. Ravens can't do that. I thought he'd be a good fit, but this just kind of shows you where the market is, Sarah. And I think they're going to have to kind of temper. I'm not saying that they have to temper their expectations as a team, but I think the fan base might have. This is a good little not a benchmark, but this is a good learning curve here for what they might be looking at if they're looking to upgrade and bring in a Nelson Aguilar replacement.
Well, it's funny because he's getting $12 million per year, and I just every time I see how much other wide receivers are making, veteran wide receivers that are still young, I always have to go and compare it to Rashad Bateman because Rashad Bateman is for sure the best contract at wide receiver that's not on a rookie contract in the NFL. Yeah. He just got $12 million per year. Rashad Bateman is getting $6.5 million per year.
And he just put up wide receiver 2 numbers. I mean, that's a bargain and a half. He's turned into, to your point, perhaps the top bargain at that position that's not a rookie in the freaking league. Imagine that this time last year.
So let's recap here. In addition to your Darius Slayton, here is who is gone. Okay, from the last time we went through this exercise of wide receivers. Devontae Adams would have loved that, gone. Josh Palmer, we just talked about that, to the Bills, gone. There's Darius Slayton, Dimey Brown. Some of these names, they're just re-signing with teams for very little money. Okay. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I was saying Cooper Kupp is as good as gone. I was acting as if he was already cut. Yes. You pointed out he was still on the team, but he is still as good as gone, as Adam Schefter tweeted yesterday. He said the Rams are planning to release wide receiver Cooper Kupp after the start of the new league year, unless a trade materializes. So he's saying by Wednesday, is it at 4:00?
Wednesday at 4.
Wednesday at 4:00. Okay.
Eastern.
My feeling is, for the most part, the wide receiver market might take a pause until that time, because I think Cooper Kupp might be closer to the top of the list of remaining guys when he becomes a remaining guy. And so that kind of brings us back to, now that your guy is off the list, we now know that Cooper Kupp, well, why would anybody trade for him right now when they know he's going to hit the market on Wednesday at 4, unless they want to get a leg up, a head start over somebody else? But they could have already made the trade by now if people really want to do that. So he will probably be there Wednesday at 4. Okay, here is who's remaining in addition to Cooper Kupp on Wednesday. We've got Stephon Diggs, who may not be ready until the middle of the season. We've got Keenan Allen. We've got Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson, Tyler Lockett, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, Devin Duvernay's on this list. Nelson's down there, DJ Chark. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of them, but some of those. So you and I are going to redo this. Who would be the perfect signing of this remaining market for the Baltimore Ravens? Bobby Trossett, Robert Francis Trossett. Who you got on this list?
I think I'm going to go with D-Hop.
Okay.
The second time through, to your point, the first time through, we were looking at the full list.
Mm-hmm.
This was probably within the last couple weeks, maybe a month ago now. And I went with Slayton, not because I was overly obsessed with the player, but because I was trying to realistically do the exercise from a Ravens team philosophy perspective. Right?
Turned out, because the market didn't make it very realistic, because he got more money than you had anticipated. Which
for
is
sure.
Always true with wide receivers.
Like we said, 3 for 36. So I misjudged it. With D-Hop, Sarah, I don't think there's no misjudging this. I think he's at the point where he's got a couple
years.
He's
almost 33. He's a Raven.
He's a Raven. Are you kidding me? He's got Raven written all over him. He is, so he turns 33 in June. So he'll be
Okay.
33 for the 2025 season. He is approaching, if not already, in vet minimum territory. And I think if I'm the Ravens, why not? Why not bring him in? All you'd be asking him to do, now obviously you'd have to have a willing participant in the player, but all you're asking him to do is replace the Nelson Aguilar production from 2024. He gives you what you don't have, a little bit of size, lots of experience, played for 2 teams last year, you guys might remember, Tennessee, and then went on to Kansas City to chase a ring. If that's all he's still playing for, why not in Baltimore? Because there's plenty of ring chasing going on right now for the Ravens.
Yeah, he definitely would fit the bill from a Ravens point of view because they're looking for a veteran. They're looking for somebody on the cheap. I don't think they want to pay anybody more than they're paying Rashad Bateman, which is going to be,
Nope.
which is difficult to do. But I don't think Bateman would like that so much. How much did DeAndre Hopkins make from Kansas City last year?
I'll look it up.
Was he a midseason trade?
It was a trade. Titans received a conditional 5th rounder that could become a 4th. This was at the time. This is August 2024. So it was a 5th rounder.
Okay, but he was still pretty high. He was making he was 2 years, 26 million when he had signed with them, so an average salary of about 13 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're going to get a veteran minimum, but you could maybe get him under what Rashad is at with 6.5 million.
He didn't do much last year.
He didn't do much, which we'll look at his numbers in just a minute.
Yeah.
Because we're going to compare a few guys.
Yep.
Okay, let me put this out there. What about Cooper Kupp?
Cooper, I think, would be a great fit in Baltimore. I just think that he's still worth.
He's going to make more.
Dude, if Slayton went for 3, if Slayton went 3 for 36, good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
And people are going to say he's not healthy, he's not this, he's not that. I'm telling you.
And he's not, which is why you don't want to pay a ton. Especially because you already have your top 2 wide receivers.
Yeah. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't see along the line, especially after misjudging the Slayton. I'm not going to get burnt again. All right, by the market. Not a chance.
You're putting your expectations lower
in the gutter.
than
In the gutter.
Time. Okay. Well, I'm probably to no surprise because when this whole thing started, I went with Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with that because
You're
he
still
also.
Yeah, you still have a play here.
Yeah, he's also. How old is he here? He's almost 31. He's going to be 31 by the time the season starts. I feel like he'd be fine with the number 3 receiver role. I know that he's been injured, but almost everybody on this list has warts, which is exactly why we were targeting it because that's what the Ravens are doing. They're going to look with a guy with warts because they're cheap because they have their top 2 receivers.
Yeah.
So, Hopkins might be more available though. You know what I mean? In terms of like injuries and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at these 3 guys side by side by side.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I didn't realize. I thought in my mind Amari Cooper was so much bigger. But he's 6'1", 211, and DeAndre Hopkins is listed at 6'1", 212. Cooper Kupp, 6'2", 207. Okay, so a little bit taller, a little bit leaner. Obviously, to your point, which is why you're not choosing Cooper Kupp, is he's been more productive. So here's their numbers, all 3 of them last year. Cooper Kupp wins in terms of receptions. He had 67 versus 44 for I'll say Amari, so we're not getting Cooper Kupp and Amari. So we'll do Kupp had 67, Amari had 44, Hopkins 56.
Yep. Then
again, Cooper Kupp had a lot of targets. He had 100. Amari had 85, Hopkins had 80. Yards, Cooper Kupp wins again, 710 to 547 for Amari to 610 for DeAndre. Now it's Amari Cooper that gets the most bang for your buck in terms of yards per reception, which is what I think the Ravens kind of need because he doesn't need a lot of volume.
But
Cooper Kupp is still going to have a lot of volume. What's that?
He takes the cake, but he's got obviously, mathematically he's he's got the edge here because he's got the least amount of receptions of the three if we're playing
Exactly.
comparison. So
Exactly, which is, again, why I feel like he fits the Ravens a little bit because he's gonna be wide receiver 3. Cooper Kupp's gonna still want volume, and the Ravens can't give that to him.
yeah,
Okay. And then in terms of touchdowns, Cooper had 6, but he also had 67 receptions. Amari had 4, and DeAndre had 5.
yep,
So, listen, I wouldn't poo-poo any of these signings, right? I wouldn't it's not your premium guy for sure, but we knew that this is what the Ravens were gonna do. They were gonna target the second or third wave of wide receiver veterans. I'm with you. I don't think they're gonna target Cooper Kupp, but I could see either Amari or DeAndre being in their sights.
yeah, I could too. It's funny. The chat's like we got to remind some in the chat. They're like, oh, y'all love old heads. Well, first of all, and
We're not saying
NFL
who we
years.
want. We're saying who we think the Ravens are gonna get.
I was gonna say when we do these exercises, you have to put on your EDC hat.
Yeah.
You have to study the behavioral trends organizationally in order to do this correctly. And that's all we're trying to do.
Well, and let's not forget, we got in a pretty good argument over DK Metcalf, right? And so because to me, the Ravens haven't had that X, all that kind of stuff. But again, what we all want is Lamar to have a Justin Jefferson, but these are the guys that are remaining. We knew that the Ravens are going to wait till this period. And so it's like, of those that are here, all of them are going to have awards. They're all in the 30s. They're all in their 30s. Let's back up even over here where we have a longer list. Everybody but, let's see, there's 4 that's in their late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire list here, which is about 13 guys, they're all in their 30s.
Yep.
The young wide receivers that are good are not letting, the teams are not letting them go.
Nope.
They're not letting them go. So you have to live in a world of reality. And in the world of reality that we're in, I think that DeAndre or Amari Cooper would be a perfect fit for what they're looking for.